like LeBron, though, or like Lonzo. Ooh, I'm a baller, yeah, shot caller, yeah. They love me, you can't touch me, nah, can't trust me. I'm too lucky. Look at me, look at you, what you see, what you do. Baby, please, think it through, drink it up, enjoy the view. MVP on my crew, Nike on my shoes. Might be sipping booze, slightly feeling loose. If I want it, then I have it.
Boom, boom, boom. This is Jared and I'm back. Hey guys, man, I'm super hyped to do the Warriors Quest show tonight. So, man, if you're new to the show, all right, I'm Jared A. Brown. I'm the host of the Warriors Quest show, and I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to tell you a story about a kidney warrior. I have the opportunity, the wonderful opportunity every week to spotlight a kidney disease patient, a kidney patient who's looking for a living donor. So that's what we do. All right. You know what time it is. All right. But I can't do this alone. All right. So please don't be stingy. All right. Please smash that share button because we need to get this story out there. We need to be united and come together and give encouragement and support to this kidney patient who's looking for a living donor. So please drop me a comment. All right. And please drop comments of encouragement and support for Dani. All right. If you haven't already, please smash, all right, and hit the subscribe button, the follow button, and everything else that from whatever social media platform I'm streaming from right now and you're watching me. But please, first, I just want to say, this is going to be so important that we get her message out there. So please, in order to do that, drop a comment. All right, click on the like icon and let's get this going in a very interactive way. Okay, comment, share, and let's ask questions. Let's get this going. All right, where's that caption? Where is it? All right, here we go. Let's make some noise. All right, we want to make some noise tonight. But my special guest, all right, my special guest is Dani Hernandez. All right, so from the Seattle, Washington area, we're going to hear from Dani Hernandez. All right, so I'm going to bring her on. All right, when she does come on, give her a very warm Warriors Quest show welcome. Drop a lot of comments, you guys. All right, if you're watching and you can relate, if you do have kidney disease, then ask questions and help get this going. All right. And if you know what she's going through, drop a comment and let her know that she's not alone. All right, let's do this. All right, let's do this together. All right, so I'm going to give her a very, very VIP welcome. Here we go. VIP. All right, here we go. I've got here, but then I didn't have the side by side display up. My bad. How are you, Dani? Good, good. So the audible isn't quite working right now. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? All right. So hopefully we can get that audio going again. We had that slight problem, and then I thought we had fixed it, but let's make sure I don't know the cable's in there really well for your earbuds, or let's maybe just make sure that it's maybe the wires aren't crossed or something. I don't know. Let's make sure we can get your audio working. All right. If not, let's have you leave and then come right back. Okay. Click on it and leave and come right back. So while she's doing that, clicking on that button, and she's going to come right back, and I'll bring her right back on. All right. So Dani, I met Dani on TikTok, like I have a lot of my guests recently. All right. Can you say something? Oh my gosh. All right. I can't hear you still. Dang it. I thought we had fixed this, Dani. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
There we go. There we go.
How about
All
now?
right.
Now it
Perfect. I can
works?
hear you now.
You can hear
Can you?
me? Okay.
Yes,
I can
yes.
hear
All right.
you.
Sweet. Sweet apple pie. All right. So Steve
Perfect.
Belcher is watching. On
Hi, Steve.
TikTok, it's Steve the Kidney Nurse. I think you may have interacted with him before on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So he's awesome. He's awesome. He and I have collaborated for a while now. Oh, we got Patricia watching. All right. Shout out to Patricia. She supports me on Instagram. She supported me for many years, as well as supported the Urban Health Outreach Media. So thank you, Patricia. So Patricia is she is a kidney transplant recipient, but if I'm not mistaken, she's now back on dialysis. So I think that's right. Correct
okay.
me if correct me if I'm wrong, Patricia. I think you're back on dialysis, or you're looking for a transplant again. But anyway, I was telling everyone that recently I've been really, trying to, I don't know, make my mark, or at least make a bigger stamp on TikTok, and that's where you and I have met. There we go, and I've been able to try to put more information out there and introduce people to what I do. And yes, all right. So,
Mhm.
so Patricia says yes. That's what I thought. So thanks again. And Patricia's ED. Okay, all right. Peritoneal dialysis. Okay, all right. And then we've got Jonathan Trailer watching. So Dani, um, Jonathan Trailer is on TikTok as well. So if you're not already connected with him, he's on TikTok as Hope with Jonathan. That's his TikTok
Awesome.
handle. So
Okay.
yeah, look for him on
Cool.
TikTok as well.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, a bunch of people chiming in. Thank you, and we've got Izzy chiming in. Thanks for coming in and commenting, Izzy. I've got mad support for you, Izzy. All right, and so we've got Steve is also going to be putting out like more consistent material, and he's going to come. He's going to do more TikTok lives back in this upcoming September, in a little more than a month. All right,
Okay.
Philip, love it. Hey, watching this from San Diego. While on my way to San Diego, I think. So, Philip is on dialysis. He's a transplant recipient who's back on dialysis as well, and he has a YouTube channel, A Second Chance, but he's also on TikTok.
Okay.
All right, so
Awesome.
yeah. So anyway, so we've got a bunch of people chiming in, which really I love because it makes it interactive.
Of
The more
course.
interactive it is in any algorithm, just like on TikTok, where the more comments you get on one of your videos, the more it's going to
Mhm.
be shown to people, right? And it's the same thing with
Right. Yeah.
doing this live show. Yeah. So I love it. So keep commenting, you guys. Don't be stingy again. Share that, and let's get this going. So anyway, you and I met on TikTok, and I had kind of invited you to come on the show because I've been advocating for people for quite some time. In fact, um, I've had the wonderful opportunity to. It's a privilege, and I love doing it. And so you accepted, and we had scheduled it for yesterday, but as the embarrassing part is my wife's birthday is yesterday, and so you graciously rescheduled for today. So here we are, right? So
Yeah,
and
of course, then.
yes, yes. So thank you for allowing me to spend time on my wife's birthday with my family. Thank you. So anyway, what we're going to do is I am going to allow you just a small amount of time to kind of introduce yourself. Um, you know, I
Okay.
I kind of shoot from the hip in many cases. I don't necessarily have like scripted questions, so you and I will just kind of talk just like we are right now for the most part, and I find that works well for a lot of people. It makes them comfortable, and so we're just gonna shoot the breeze a little bit, all right? But um, if you would though, I'm going to put you solo, but I'll still be here. Only my screen will be really small. And if you would just take a moment, just introduce yourself and maybe say some things about where you grew up. Tell us,
Mm-hmm.
where you maybe live now. Tell us,
Okay.
a little bit about your background that way. And then um, what was your first introduction to kidney failure? Something like that, okay?
Okay. Sure.
All right, we're going to play musical chairs. I'm going to put you on this side.
Again, thanks for
All right, go ahead.
having me on this show. My name's Daniela. Me Dani, just for short and sweet. 25 years old. I was actually born in Mexico, but I was brought to the old, so I've pretty much grown up and I've grown up here in Seattle.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, on vacation, go and visit my grandma. I have like half my family down there, and the other half. When I was 18 years old, how I got introduced to kind of when I started to have symptoms of lupus. What lupus did was pretty much attack my brain. At that time, they didn't really know. They were just doing a lot of guessing because the case so severe that they had never seen. A lot of times they would I would go to like a drug overdose, and my mom would be like, "No, like she's been with me." And until some doctor was like, "Actually, I've seen it might be lupus," and it turned out to be, which from one of the family we had never heard of lupus. It was all and at that time, since they had, I wasn't really help. I couldn't understand anything. And the sad part was that my mom, because they speak Spanish and I'm translator for the most part, difficult time for them because I was the one hospitalized. I always helped them, when it comes to all the big stuff. But thankfully, and we got through, and I they started doing some chemo on me because hardest medicine that they could find treatment. Did a couple of rounds of that and to a control. Thankfully, I started getting better. Like I had to come to the house to help me detach from my body. I speak again, how to write, how to. It was a whole process. Yes.
Wow.
It's pretty much a miracle that I'm here because my mom, she's never going to really defeat, like she's never going to be normal, like to how she used to be. My mom kind of got to the idea like, oh, a child that's gonna need a lot of my time, what the doctors would tell her. And then I just woke up and I was kind of confused because I didn't happen. But it's just like, I want to go to the, like kind of like normal, like what's going on? Like she would tell me like walk over there, and that was perfectly fine. So that at the time when I had lupus and was going on, she said that when I was in a crowd, I get like anxious and anxiety, and with a lot of people, I just didn't do well. The fact that I told wanted to go to the mall because she's like, I feel like if I take a panic attack once you see all the people in the mall. But she said, okay, let's do it. And we did, and we actually, and everything was great. It was like, wow, like we just don't, even the doctors to this moment, they just exactly what happened in my case. Like, talking, they don't really, they can't really explain, wow, this happened. And then, anyways, during that time, they like also did attack my kidneys. But it wasn't, we're still at a good percentage they were at, but they were fine for a while. And my while as well. And then about a year ago, my doctor said we should start kind of what kind of dialysis I would choose. Got to a 10% where it required me to get dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
And he suggested that I start doing all the kidney transplant list. For me to have a transplant before so that's what we were aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, the day came and he had to give me the call where we did a biopsy. Pretty much looks like a bomb exploded in there.
Oh no! Yeah.
We should get you on dialysis. And when I heard the word dialysis, crying, I was like, no, like it just sounded. I was like, what is my, so many questions. Anyone do dialysis? So I started to kind of calm down, and that's when he gave me the option to do PD.
Okay.
And he kind of explained what was each thing, and I was like, okay, I'm in my house every night. So an appointment to do my surgery, and it all happened so quickly, like within the schedule to do my PD. And I was scared because I was in Kansas City, so she doesn't live here. Pretty much had to go through all that all alone, and I did her with me.
Wow. Okay.
So I had to go through surgery with me, but he works, so he could all the day. And pretty much my whole recovery, and I thank God, because I've heard other stories of people that it was kind of a tough, and I'm just so thankful that for me, I was able to, look and, clean up after myself. It was really good for me, to help me.
So wow, interesting. So I'm encouraged to hear that more and more I'm hearing that people are getting introduced to peritoneal dialysis much sooner than in the past. That is encouraging. It is, because I think that many people, it's a great option for many patients, and many people feel as though they feel more refreshed because they're dialyzing daily, and
Right.
so what was the deciding factor for you, though, Dani, when the choice was, when they gave you options of course, in-center dialysis, maybe home hemodialysis with next stage, and then PD.
Right.
Was there, was it kind of a tough choice, or what was something that maybe stood out to you, or did you just go but from the recommendations of maybe someone that you deemed respectful or respectable?
Well, he suggested I do PD, or those were the two options he gave. So I kind of just briefly looked up both things,
Okay.
and got me to say yes, mainly able to travel while on PD. I like I said, I like to travel to Mexico and there,
Mm-hmm.
or we have like little trips, or wherever we want to have like a little vacation. And also, really got me to say yes was because I've also worked as CNA, so I kind of worked in the medical field. Like, if I've already cared for other people, be able to care for myself as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I don't think it'd be so hard to just learn every step of how to do PD every night on the challenge of learning how to do it for myself. So yeah, that's me. Yes.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. So when and so the training seems to be pretty good with most people that I've interviewed, most patients that I've interviewed. They've been pretty happy with their training before they do
Mhm.
PD alone. What was your training curve? How long did it take you? Was it 2 weeks? Tell me a little bit about that and how difficult, or with your, medical, sort of knowledge previously, was that an easier transition for you?
Mhm. I feel like it was super easy. The training was 2 weeks, um, but I really trained for 2 days, and on the third day, so it was pretty fast, super quick. And well, like no one has actually. It usually takes us like a week or two to letting someone go home. So for me, it was a pretty fast process, and I haven't gotten peritonitis.
Okay, good. You haven't had it?
No, no. So
Well, crossing my
I think
fingers. I hope
I'm
that you
there.
don't get it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So either that's luck, or it may be just because you're very clean and and you're very careful. Maybe a little bit of both, huh?
Maybe a little. Try to do everything as good as.
Good, good. That's good. And so how has that changed your how has that changed your life? Because that's the one thing that and then I know this must be a difficult question to answer, but because I really want to help you find a living donor. Um, Oftentimes I'll ask this question so that if there is a potential living donor that's listening, watching, that person can kind of understand how this is something that just turns your life upside down. So I'm gonna ask this,
Mhm.
but Steve has a really good question. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have you answer first before we do this. This is a pretty good one. So, and it reminded me. I should have asked. This is a great question. So, with peritoneal dialysis, there are really kind of two options. There's the manual or the machine. Are you on the
Mm.
machine, or do you have to,
Currently,
do? Or I lost you for a moment. You still there? All right. So sometimes the audio may get messed up, like if there's a notification or a text message or a phone call. Can you say something? Let me see if the audio is still with us. Can you hear me? Can I hear you? Can you? All right. So we're gonna have her leave and come back. All right. Here we go. All right. There she is. Can you hear me? All right. So. All right, I can't quite hear you yet. Let's see if I'm not sure where that magic lies of when what we've done previously to get that audio to work, but maybe moving it or I don't know, getting it positioned, something like that to see if we can hear you again. But the sometimes when there's like a phone call or a text message when you're on your mobile phone, that happens. There we go. Can you
Better?
hear? Yeah, there we go. I can hear you.
Okay,
All right,
good.
so all right, so we were just he was just asking the questions whether it's manual or machine. So
Hmm.
with if you would answer that and then explain, what the difference is so that those that maybe aren't familiar with the difference that we can elaborate on that as well.
Yeah, so at first I did get trained to do manuals. And what manuals
Okay.
is pretty much you do everything manually. So you grab your bag, you grab your tube, you connect it, you fill yourself up and wait 3 hours or 2 hours, however long they tell you to do it. And then you pretty much drain it after the 3 hours. And then you fill up again, drain it again, and you do. For me, it was 3 cycles. So
Okay.
that's how I started. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
started my training. So I did like a week of manuals, and then they're like, okay, now we will train you on the machine, and you can decide if you like it. So what the machine does for me is it pretty much sets up everything. It sets up the 3 cycles over the night. So it's like a 9 hour treatment where there's
Mm-hmm.
3 cycles. And what it does is it fills me up with the fluid, stays in my body for 3 hours, and then after the 3 hours, it'll drain me and fill me up again. So I don't have to keep connecting and disconnecting myself
Okay.
during the night. It just
Mm-hmm.
does it for myself. So I tried PD on the machine and I liked it and I stuck with the machine.
Okay. All right.
So ever since I started the machine, I've just stuck to the machine and that's what I have been doing every night.
That works for you. Okay. So the bag though.
Mm-hmm.
So help me understand that a little bit. So with that bag, the dye is how is it reconnecting and disconnecting? So with your catheter in your abdomen, it's
Mm-hmm.
there's the tube
So
and
pretty much, yeah, you grab the tube in your abdomen and then there's
mm-hmm,
the tube in the bag.
yeah.
So the bag that you use when you have manuals is a smaller bag than the bags you connect to the machine.
All right,
So
all right.
I think the smaller bags is like a 3,000 milliliters of fluid or something like that. It's just smaller, and then the big bags is 6,000.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that makes more
So
sense.
so every time you fill up with the little bag, you just fill up. It's pretty much that. For me, my fills are like 2,000, 2,300
Okay.
every fill. Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Makes sense. Okay. So it's holding more with the bag when you're on the machine versus the smaller bags when you're doing it manually. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then
it's
also
mhm.
when you're on manual, you have to warm up your bags because if you put them on like that, it might be too cold for you. And what the
Oh,
machine does is it warms up the fluid for you. So you don't have to worry about putting your bag to warm up.
all right. All right. So yeah, I mean, it sounds easier on the machine, but I do know that there are some warriors out there that do manual. I think, in fact, um, okay, what I'm trying to, um, I know of some people that
I
do it. So
follow a girl named Melanie.
yes, I was just gonna say, Melanie. Is
Yeah,
it? I want to
she
say,
does the manual.
yeah. She in
I
her on her TikTok videos, she shows it
Yeah,
and Yeah, on her TikTok live, right. And
Yeah, and
so
she's amazing. And I think for her is she just didn't tolerate the pain of the machine. And for me at first it was painful,
mhm,
but I feel like my body just got used to
got
it.
used
And
to it? Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
Alright. You know, and some and that's what's, it's so interesting about this journey is that, there could multiple people do PD, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, that the machine is good for everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's an interesting thing because, it the manual is better for her, but not for you,
Hmm.
and you you may do something else differently and then she does
Hmm.
it differently. It's always an interesting sort of journey, and then not everybody has the same journey even though you're going through a similar circumstance.
Right.
Anyway, he's Steve's asking, which dextrose solution that you use.
Yeah, I use the 2.5 and the 1.5, which is the
Okay.
one yellow, one green.
All right, and he says you look amazing. So yeah,
Oh,
and
thank you.
yeah. And so that, I guess, leads to my next question that I have for you before we get to my original question is that, a lot of folks, a lot of people that I've interviewed, they do prefer peritoneal dialysis. And then I've interviewed people that do the home hemodialysis as well. But the having the dialysis every day versus in center, and again, I'm not saying that people that do in center that it's wrong. Again,
Right.
like I just said, it's not everybody has the same journey, and it's not a one size fits all, which is what Melanie says. By the way, I love it. She always says that.
Yeah.
Mel does, but so what? How does it make you feel versus when you first had kidney failure? Because generally speaking, they don't put you immediately on PD. Were
Hmm.
you were you originally, did you do dialysis in center originally, or at least in the hospital? And how was that introduced to you?
No, I think since I had been seeing the doctor much before I got to the point
Oh,
where I
okay.
needed dialysis, he pretty much pre did everything.
Interesting.
So he was
Okay.
like, "You'll get your surgery. We'll wait the 3 months or 2 months for it to fully heal.
Yeah.
And then you can just start your dialysis after your training. There's no need for me to do an emergency, dialysis. You'll be fine."
Okay.
So I pretty much just went straight to PD and did PD.
Wow. Wow. That
Mhm.
that is not common. So kudos to your doctor for
Mhm.
watching your levels and and your labs and everything, because
Right.
honestly, that doesn't. I don't interview too many people where they go directly to PD. That's not too often. I think maybe only a handful of people that I've interviewed in the 3 years that I've been doing this. Not very many. So
Mhm.
that's good. So and how do you feel uh, now? I be again. I like I originally said, this is a tough question to answer because you may feel more refreshed versus someone who goes to dialysis 3 days a week because you're
Right.
doing it every day. However, there are still you still have kidney failure, and so
Right.
you still have, some other things going on. But give us an idea of, it how you feel on a daily basis and what are some common things that happen, like the brain fog, you know,
Mhm.
um,
Right. A
some
lot of
things
that.
like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, so for me, I do have my days where I'm like, wow, I feel great. I can get up, do all these things. And then I have other days where it's the total opposite. And I'm just like, I just wonder why, because I'm always doing the same treatment. So you would
Mhm.
think you'd feel the same every day,
Right, right.
but it's not like that at all. So I have my days where it's literally so hard to just get up and go have my breakfast. Like I don't even feel hungry. I feel like not doing anything. I just want to lay in bed. But then I'm like, no, I can't live like that. So I push myself to get out of
Mm-hmm.
bed and, go out, walk, eat, exercise a little, even go with a friend, talk to them. It helps to have some sort of support too, just someone to talk to.
Absolutely. Yes. So important.
Yeah,
I
but mainly for me, my symptoms, when I'm like feeling down, it's pretty much I get headaches all of a sudden, and that's what kind of gets to me because
okay.
it kind of scares me to get headaches because that's how I started with my lupus.
All right. All right.
So when I get headaches, it's kind of like, no, why?
Uh-oh.
So I just want to make sure everything's okay. But thankfully, everything's okay because my doctors are so on top of everything. I see both my rheumatologist and my kidney doctor, and they're just on top of it, which I'm so thankful.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That is
but
very
that's me.
encouraging that you've got good doctors and people that you've bonded with and that you feel comfortable or that you trust. That's good. It really
Hmm.
is.
Yeah, and mainly it's just battling the being tired. Like I remember before I had kidney disease, I never drank coffee. I was like, I don't need coffee. I don't
Right.
understand why people
I'm
need
high on
coffee.
life. Yeah.
Right? Like I'm never gonna drink coffee. And
Uh-huh.
then boom, I have kidney disease and I'm
Yeah.
tired. And if I'm going to work, I need my coffee or
Yeah.
else I'm just not gonna function.
Right,
So
right.
it's just been a change on that part of being tired. And for me, before I was actually diagnosed with kidney disease, I would go to work and I'd always be like yawning. And for me, it was so embarrassing because I'd be like with patients and they'd be like, girl, you're so young. Why are you so tired? And I was just like, yeah, that's weird. And then I figured out it was part of the whole kidney
Mm-hmm.
disease. So yeah, it's just been hard. And now that I do my treatments, I don't yawn as much, um, which is good. So I can go to work and not feel like super miserable that I'm yawning all the time.
Okay, right, right. So and that's another what I would call like another byproduct of having say the when you have that opportunity to do PD, uh,
Hmm.
many people that I've interviewed, Danny, say that that allows them a little more flexibility to work. You know,
Sure, yes, for
so
sure.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, because you pretty much get to set your schedule. You just connect in the night and then you have the whole day for yourself. You can go to work, you could do your things, your chores, whatever you need to get done, you could plan it out.
Hmm.
And that's what I love, that I could still continue to work and not have to change so much of a lifestyle.
All right, so I've had Igor commenting, and I don't speak Russian, and so I've had this guy Igor commenting, and I don't speak Russian, so I apologize, Igor, but I hope that you continue to comment and do that because I just don't understand I don't understand the Russian language. I do speak
Right.
German, okay, and I do speak German fluently. So maybe if you were to, and so I'm really sorry I don't understand Russian, but I do appreciate you commenting. So so Danny, with the lupus, um,
Hmm.
I've interviewed many people with lupus, and that's also something that's not always the same for everybody either.
Right.
Like when Melanie is on TikTok and she talks, her experience is probably a little bit different for her than for you. But
Hmm.
do you, do you also have to be careful when you go outside because of the sun? And how has that affected you?
It is recommended to be careful around the sun.
Yeah.
Um, but see, when I've gone to Mexico and stuff, that's what I worry about the most because I hear that the sun can really get you so many rashes and kind of cause a lot of flare ups and stuff. For me, thankfully, I've never had a flare up to the magnitude where I get rashes. It's kind of like I have lupus because the doctor says I have lupus. I've
Okay.
never really had a big symptom besides
Uh-huh.
the joint pain. I
Okay.
do suffer from a lot of joint pain.
All right.
At the
All right.
beginning, when I had lupus, it was horrible. Like it was really hard to get off of bed because just my feet were so aching, and and but now it's under control, so I don't really suffer from a lot of the joint pain.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, I makes me wonder, maybe Steve will know the answer to this, but makes me wonder if it's because of kidney failure that your lupus isn't, manifesting itself, so to speak, and really
Mm.
a bigger problem. I wonder if there's anything to that. Maybe it's because of your kidney failure that's not as, I don't know,
Active.
aggressive. Yeah,
Yeah.
active. Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. It could be. I mean, they had been under control. My lupus had been under control for a while.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I hope it stays like that.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a friend who lives here in my state in Utah, and she has
Hmm.
lupus, and she battles with it all the time.
Yeah.
Her biggest thing, she does get headaches like you do, but her
Hmm.
biggest thing is really the brain fog, and
Right.
she hasn't had nephritis, so it hasn't affected her kidneys yet, and so she's not on dialysis yet. But my friend, her name is Nina. All right, so
Hmm.
Danny, Steve's got a question here.
Okay.
Do you get a lot of comments from people that when they say you don't look sick?
Oh yeah. All the time.
Okay, yeah,
All the time. They're
yeah.
like, "Girl, you do not look sick." Like I had my cousin, because they just hear that I'm sick, right? One day I happened to be out at a family gathering, and I got an infection on my PD catheter exit site.
Okay,
So I was like, I was freaking out because I had never gotten an infection on my exit site. Um, so we called the paramedics, and they're like, "You're okay. You could just go into the ER, and they'll give you antibiotics or
okay,
whatever."
okay, right.
Um, but she took me to the ER, and she just kind of got to see how I tell them all my medical problems. And she like sits down and looks at me. She's like, "Girl, if I am not here with you today and hearing and listening to all this that you have going on, I would have never known you have this going on, because when I look at you, you look so fine. Like it looks like you're not sick." And I'm like, "Yeah, girl, isn't that crazy?" Like a lot of people are like, "Really? I would have never imagined, because you don't even have like a sick face at all."
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's how frustrating is that though? Is it reassuring and is it a compliment, or is it sometimes frustrating because maybe people don't take you as seriously?
I feel like it can be frustrating because, see, for me, I'm a very positive person and smiley person. So I feel like anything that life comes at me with, it's like, okay, I'm just going to smile through it, and we're going to get through it, and just positive, positive, positive.
Hmm.
But there is days where it's like, I feel so bad, but I feel like some people don't understand, and they probably think I'm faking it. Like
Okay.
I had an instant with a friend, because I get the fog brain too, and she wanted to hang out, but I totally forgot I made plans with someone else, and she kind of got mad at me, like, how could you forget you make plans with someone else? And I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's a real thing. I promise it's a real thing. I'm not making it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's kind of hard to deal with that, because most people would think like she's 25, she can't forget she made plans with someone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
And
kind
so
of hard. Like some people won't really understand unless you're living the situation.
you make a good point is that and many of the people I've interviewed and then many of the care partners, caretakers of their loved ones have said that same thing is that until you know somebody, a loved one, or until you're going through this, it's difficult to grasp, and you're right, and it's gotta be difficult because you don't want, like, your bestie, or you don't want your cousin or someone else to think that you're flaky, that,
Right.
you don't wanna hang out or chill because, you made plans with somebody else, but you did. It's not that you forgot them. I mean, you did, but it's not that you did that on purpose and trying to be
Right.
disrespectful or whatever. It's just that your brain is gonna work differently, and it's hopefully, things like this, this interview, and more awareness, it can help people, because that's exactly why I get so excited to interview people is that um, oftentimes even friends and like employees that of the people whom I've interviewed, they may not totally understand what you're going through. And then on a live interview like this, they can hear you and they get to hear you speak, and then they listen with more intent because it's sometimes even in a work setting or sometimes it's just difficult to talk about what's going on, right? I mean, it's not
Right.
always easy. Yeah, and then when
Yeah.
you're on a live stream interview like this and they hear you talk, it sometimes helps them at least have a little better understanding, if you know what I mean.
Right, of course.
All right, so not because of the kidney failure though. So let's see. Oh, here we go. So I forgot to bring up the other statement that makes more sense. So it seems like she has her lupus under control, but he's
Hmm.
saying but there's not necessarily a correlation because of your kidney failure. So he was
Okay.
answering my question that I had before. Thanks,
Right.
Steve. So anyway, that's what I want to do, and I don't always. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy too, Tanny.
Yeah.
I love that you smile and that you're optimistic. Those things are great qualities because this is a daily battle for you, and
Yes.
it every day, day in, day out, right? It's a grind. And for you to have that sort of sunny disposition, so to speak, that's going to be in your favor. However, on a show like this, we try to, have people understand that when I mean people, I mean a potential living donor. Uh,
Hmm.
that's when I ask questions like how you feel. And it's not because I want to try to get you to come clean that you don't feel well. It's just that it's like we talked about, some people just don't quite get it, right?
Right,
And
yes, of course.
so yeah, they just, my sister-in-law has kidney disease. She's got transplanted, in 2018, and my uncle just recently got transplanted on June 7th, this 2022, just recently. And so
Oh, wow, that's
um,
wonderful.
yeah, and I've interviewed people nearly every week for over 3 years, so I've interviewed people many times, hundreds of people, right? And so
Right.
I I I don't have 100% like understanding, but I have a better understanding, and I can show empathy because of my involvement in the kidney disease community and in lupus. But with somebody who's watching tonight or on replay, what could you tell them? What would a kidney transplant mean to you because of the brain fog, the headaches, and having to be connected to a machine every night? What would it mean to you to have a transplant, and how would that change your life?
Oh, having a transplant would change my life so much. It's just depending on a machine is so draining and so exhausting. Like it might seem so easy, but as a young person, getting there every night, having to plan out your schedule because the machine is goes on for 9 hours. So if I have to be at work at 8, I have to plan accordingly. So by 8 p.m., I have to be connected to my machines so I can make it to work on time. So having a transplant for me, I feel like the day I get the transplant, I'm gonna be the happiest person ever. I just feel like it's gonna help me so much just get, back to school because I had to stop going to school. I had so many things I wanted to do. I wanted to travel. I mean, even though I can still travel on PD, it's not the same because you have to worry about so many other things. There's so many factors that go into traveling when it comes to being
Hmm.
on dialysis. And just like going on road trips, I can't go on road trips. Maybe I could, but it's just the whole process. Um, So I feel like my life would just change, and I could feel somewhat normal again, just go off and party and come back and just feel more energy and just feel like more alive, because sometimes I feel like, am I even alive? Like, it just feels sometimes like such a dream that this is where I'm at 25 years old.
Right. So it sounds as though kidney failure has put your life on hold. Is
It
that
really has. I feel like
okay?
it really has. And I feel like also, like, meeting new people, it's kind of hard to meet new people because you kind of have to explain, like, I can't do certain things because I have this medical condition. And
Right.
then you gain some friends and you lose some friends. There's just friends that can't deal with this sort of stuff.
That's an interesting statement that you just made, and it's one that I've heard before, and
Hmm.
it's a difficult one because in some ways it's almost a good thing because if they're not going to stick with you, like they're not your ride or die sort of friend, right?
Hmm.
Then maybe that's not who you want to, be in your life, all the time. On the
Right.
flip side, on the flip side, man, I'm not saying if they act that way that it's right. It's discouraging to hear. However, it it's some people just in their mind or their mentality, we're all made up differently, right? Like I can deal with, I make jokes and I deal with stuff by making jokes and using my humor. Whereas, and I may be able to get through something by looking at something and dealing with it in a different way. But um,
Right.
whereas somebody else who sees that you're going through your biggest journey in your life, it may be difficult for your friend to talk about it with you. And because
Right.
it's hard to talk about it, they may not want to be around you because then they have to be forced to talk about it. I don't know. That makes sense. But
Right.
it's so it's discouraging to hear, but and in some ways, if the ones that do stick with you, man, kudos to them because those are your true and blue friends, right? Your
For
real
sure.
BFFs, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it feels nice when someone just like asks you, how's your day? How's your treatment? How's everything? Like, are your labs doing? Like, it just makes you feel like, wow, like someone cares what's going on with my life,
Yes.
and they
Mhm.
shouldn't be scared to ask. It's not nothing bad. It's like, I know it's like it might be sensitive to talk about it, but it's just the reality of what's going on in my life. And I
Mhm.
would not feel like, why do you want to talk about it? Like, I'm just so happy to share what's going on in my life and how I'm dealing with everything.
Right. I and I think that if somebody can do that like you are, that's going to
Hmm.
be in your favor. That's an advantage for you because I made a TikTok video, and one of the things that I wanted to share, and sometimes you can get your point across in a 7-second, 15-second video, and sometimes not. But
Right.
um, kidney, matching, trying to find a kidney match with a potential living donor, in some ways is a lot like dating. Okay,
Hmm.
hear me out. All right, I know it's a little whimsical, but it's a little like dating because what you want to do is you want to make a connection,
Right.
and because the people that become living kidney donors or living donors in general are the people that feel like they're connected to you in some way. They're more apt to become your donor if they've connected with you. Now, it doesn't always necessarily mean that they're going to be in your life all the time, even after transplant. But you know what I mean? It's kind of like they sense your pain, they have empathy, and they felt connected that they really feel as though you're going through a very difficult time, and they felt connected to you for that moment because of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And so in that way, it is a lot like dating. And if you can share your story, you can connect with somebody much more quickly, right? Just like dating versus,
Right.
you know what I mean? So don't get me wrong. Okay, yeah, I get it that not everybody is comfortable being in front of a camera. Not everybody's as goofy and as outgoing as you and I, Danny. All right, we can't always
Right.
have the best gifts, right? But
Right, of
so,
course.
but so sometimes someone's personality is reserved, shy, whatever, and it's not as easy
Yeah.
for them, right? And
Yeah, of
that's how it
course.
was for my sister-in-law. She's more private and reserved, and she's not really public. But
Mm-hmm.
if somebody can see you smile and then they see you cry, and you're showing real emotion, that's how somebody can feel connected to you, is if they sense you're real and you're authentic. You know what I mean?
Right, of course.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, when I go to Taco Bell and then I go to Arizona and I go to, I don't know, somewhere where there's a real authentic Mexican restaurant, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You've got family
Yeah.
from Mexico. It's like, you know, Taco Bell, come on.
It doesn't compare.
Right, right? Yeah. And so when you know someone's authentic, it just comes across better. And
Right, of course.
anyway, so kudos to you. We're coming to the end here, but I want to say right here that Steve has another comment here, and I want to say thank you for Izzy, your comments that you've shown, Izzy. And Steve, of course, you've had great comments, and Steve's asking right here, or his comment is, she could go on road trip, just do manual PD. So there is that option,
Right.
of course, but for people that aren't familiar, is that taking the machine isn't as easy as just taking your mobile phone. It's heavier equipment. I mean,
Right.
not it's a little, it's somewhat bulky, and you got to pack that, and it's not as it's not as portable as one would think, right?
Right, yeah. It like when people see my machine, it's like that's not what I envision. Like they kind of like envision a little machine that I just connect to and I could just
Yeah, like
walk
a
around
little
with.
laptop or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then I'm just like, no, it requires a lot more than just connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you've been just a gem tonight, and I want to thank you for coming on. But I'm going to put you solo again as we end. But I just want to have you end with like a shout out. All right. So this
Hmm.
this point of the show, we're going to change. We're going to play musical chairs again, and we're going to switch places.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is do a little shout out. All right. So you brought up family. I think family is so important. And I'm glad that you've got a support, so to speak, or a sure foundation, and that your family is there for you, whether it's, family where you live now, or family in Mexico, or family in a different state here in the US, whatever. I'm just super, super happy that you've got a connection with your family.
Yeah,
So
of course, that support system is important.
so important, you're right. And so right now is what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this goofy photo of me shouting. All right, so shout
Mhm.
out time. Whom would you like to shout out? Whom would you like to say thanks or I love you? Shout out time. It's your time to shine.
Well, definitely would like to shout out to my mom. I love her so much. She's been so supportive. Even though she's far away, she does her part. She's always calling me. She's always just wanting to know what's going on, how I'm feeling.
Hmm.
Obviously, shout out to my dad and my brother. They support me in the way they can. It might not be as much, but anything is helpful. I also want to shout out to my doctors. They have just been so wonderful throughout like everything, and I'm just so grateful to have the doctors I have. I just feel, you just feel that connection to your doctor when you know they really care for you and they're just putting all their worths
Right,
in
like we
you.
talked about, when they're authentic and they're real. Yeah, you can sense it.
Right. Yeah, and shout out to the friends and the TikTok community that, just watches my videos, because I just love, showing bits and pieces of what I go through. Because a lot
Yes.
of people relate to it, and it just
Mm-hmm.
amazes me every day how many people out there just living similar to how I'm living. So
Mm-hmm.
just shout out to all my warriors. You guys are doing great. It may be hard, but you're just hanging on there and going forward, and I love that. And this is a great community.
It is. It's such a good community. We've got a strong kidney disease community, and on TikTok, it's growing. Melanie's there, of course. Steve, the kidney nurse. I'm there, and we've got other
Right.
people too. And I hope that we continue to get a bigger, that the community on TikTok grows even more. And it is so
Right.
good to get that involvement. And there are other people that when you can show that you're doing that, then it's a
Mm-hmm.
great way to relate, because like I said, is when you're showing that you're vulnerable, that you're real and authentic. A great way is to do that on TikTok, where you can show them that you're on PD, and they can see that you're on a form of dialysis, and then
Right.
you're showing them an example of the day in the life of Dani, right? And
Right.
so anyway, so I'm so happy we did this again, Dani. Thank you. And
Yeah, me
it,
too. Thank you.
is it okay? May I have your permission to use some clips of this live
Oh
interview
yeah, go ahead. Go
on
for it.
TikTok?
Share
All
it
right.
out. Yeah.
All right. So I'll make maybe one or two. I'll like splice it and make some short, maybe 15-second videos and share this on TikTok, and I'll tag you. Okay.
Yes, of course. Go for it.
All right. Thank you. All right. Have a wonderful evening. God bless. All right. And oh, by the way,
God bless.
real quick question. Okay. And I wanted to ask this earlier and I forgot. So
Yes.
one of my friends recently had introduced me to some food, and
Mm-hmm.
he thought it was like just some like specific to Ecuador, but he later found out that there are other people like in Mexico that also eat this. So it's
Okay.
called uh hopefully I can say this okay, don't make fun. Birria tacos,
Oh, birria
quesabirria.
taco.
Yeah, birria
Quesabirria.
tacos. Yeah, quesabirria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love them. I can't get enough of them
They
now.
are so good.
Yes.
They're so good, but they're not so good. Like they're so greasy, but we love the
Right,
greasy.
right. Yeah, I know. I love them. I do. Yeah. And so there are like 3 or 4, restaurants where we live where some of them make them just a slightly different, than one
Mm-hmm.
or over the other. But, one, I really like their little, they put like the sauce in a little cup and I can dip my
Oh yeah,
taco
that's
in
called the
there.
consomme.
Okay, okay, yeah. And
It
then
is really good.
sometimes some of them make it with the goat and some of them make it with beef, so it's all a little bit
Yeah.
different, but it's so
Yeah.
delicious. So
Yes. So
delicious.
good.
Yeah. All right. You feel me, right? It's good.
I feel you. I feel
Yeah.
you.
All right. Well, thank you again, Dani. Okay, God bless you and your family, and I hope that someday very soon that you get a kidney transplant. And just shout me out. Let me know. Hit me up, and let me know that when that happens, whether it's from a
Of
deceased
course.
donor angel or from a living donor, whichever. Okay.
Of course. I will keep you updated.
All right. Thank you. All right. Talk to you
All
soon.
right.
All right.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
All right, you guys. So we've heard from Dani Hernandez, and I'm so happy we had her all right on tonight, because her smile, her all of her like her aura, okay, just a sweet, positive energy. And if you caught this late, watch the whole thing, replay it. All right, please watch this all the way through, and please comment. All right, drop some more comments. Thank you, Izzy. All right. I've had I've had Izzy on as a co-host. I've had her on the Warriors Quest show. Really appreciate your support. And of course, Steve. All right, my brother from another mother. Really appreciate your comments and your expertise and what you bring when I have an interview. It's great to have you answer questions. And of course, Uncle Jim sharing. Thanks for sharing, Uncle Jim. I know. You're right. Okay, Izzy, I don't know what he's saying, and I'm glad that he's commenting. I just don't understand what he's saying or what he's asking. Maybe I'll spend some time after the interview and try to make sure he's not swearing at me or saying vulgarities. But I know I may have missed some other people. All right. I'm going to go through the comments here just one more time. If you were watching, oh yeah, Jonathan Trailer. Shout out to Jonathan Trailer with Hope with Jonathan. Philip Jones Jr. as well with a second chance. Patricia Stabler Yates. Patricia, thank you for your comments and for watching. And anybody else who commented or that I left out or watched but didn't comment, all right, thank you so much, because the algorithm is bound to us when we comment, share, and when we make this super interactive. Then the algorithm will make this more visible to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And that's my biggest thing. All right. The most important thing that I want to do is to make sure that the kidney warriors are visible, because many times, all right, they feel invisible, isolated, and they want to be visible, and I want them to be visible with what I do here on my show. So please continue to share this. All right, get this story out there for this young lady so that we can find her a kidney donor. All right, thank you for your support. Thanks for your following, and make sure that you still continue to watch next week's episode as well. Appreciate you. Thank you. God bless. All right, let me find that outro. All right, don't be stingy, please. Smash that share button. All right. Thank you guys. Peace. All right. I'm gonna find that shit. I'm gonna find that outro. Where is it? You know, it's that one where I'm dancing.
Ooh, like LeBron though, or like Lonzo. Ooh, I'm a baller, yeah, shot caller, yeah. They love me, you can't touch me, nah, can't trust me. I'm too lucky. Look at me, look at you, what you see, what you do. Baby, please think it through, drink it up, enjoy the view. MVP on my crew, Nike on my shoes. Might be sipping booze, slightly feeling loose. If I want it, then I have it.